Hi guys, my name's Bex, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing to you my February wrap-up. So last month I sat here telling you how quickly January went, and now it's February and February's over, and I'm sitting here like, what the hell? This year is flying, it is already March, and that means it's time for my February wrap-up. So February was a very quick month for me. It was a very busy month in terms of I went away for a weekend, but with that being said, let's just get into the stats for February's reading. So in the month of February, I ended up reading a total of 8 books and failed miserably at 2 whole readathons. But over the month of February, I ended up reading 2,418 pages. Of the books I read, the genre breakup was 4 contemporary. Yes, the most contemporary I've ever read in a month. 3 fantasy and 1 dystopian. Of these 8 books, 3 were physical books, 2 were audiobooks, 2 were graphic novels, and 1 was an ebook. And this month was very all over the place in terms of rating. I had 1 2-star book, 2 3-star books, 1 4-star book, 2 4.5-star books, and 2 5-star books. But without further ado, let's just stop talking about stats and get into the books that I read, starting with my least favorite as usual. I know we're gonna have some unpopular opinions during this video, so I'm sorry. Please don't be offended if my opinions are different to your opinions, because I'm starting with a really beloved one, which is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. It was one of the only books that I read for the Pollathon, and I really enjoyed participating in the Pollathon, even though I didn't do really well. But what I didn't enjoy was this book. So Coraline follows a little girl who is kind of an explorer. She's exploring her new home, and there's a door at the back, and it's bricked up. However, on the other side of this door, there is an identical family who want Coraline to join them. And it gets weird from there. And this book, all I can really describe it, for me, was just strange. I thought the whole premise was strange. I didn't read it as a younger child like most people did, and I did not connect to the character. I didn't connect to the story. I didn't really like the story. Overall, I found it a little bit strange and a little bit underwhelming. As this was one of the first Neil Gaiman books I read, I really expected a lot, and unfortunately this was just not for me. I read this on audiobook. I got to listen to the story be told to me as I followed along, and it was very quick. But I got nothing from the experience. The next book I'm talking to you about today, I gave 3 stars, and that was Archie Volume 1 by Mark Waid, Fiona Staples, Annie Wu, and Veronica Fish. This is kind of a revamp of the old Archie comics. Now Riverdale is out and everybody's very into it, so I thought I wanted to get into this one because I love Riverdale. And it wasn't bad. It was a really good start to a graphic novel series. I didn't love it. It's kind of a slice of life in the life of Archie and his friends. The artwork I thought was really nice. We get a mix of this really beautiful illustrations on the front of the issues, and then going into these ones, which is really colourful and bright, but not as gorgeous as the start of the issue graphic. Ultimately, it goes through Archie's life, where he and girl next door Betty have just broken up. Really good, nothing to write home about, but hopefully it gets better, because I'm excited to carry on with it. My next 3-star read was an ebook, and it is The Extinction Trials Rebel by S.M. Wilson. We started reading the Extinction Trials series for the Quarterly Book Club, and I believe I am the only one that has kept on going. This is like my guilty pleasure read. I love the dinosaurs, I love everything about it. Although it's the 3rd book in a series, so I can't really tell you much about it. It follows Storm Chaser, who is a young girl growing up in a dystopian world. To survive in this world, they have to risk everything. Basically, in the 1st book, she goes into a contest, and the contest sends her to the island of the dinosaurs, because they've kind of destroyed their own continent, so they're looking for more, obviously, and it goes from there, but it's filled with dinosaurs and lush descriptions, and it's a bit middle grade. It reads very young. I had fun reading it, and I just devour it every time I read it. So I really loved Distinction Trials number 3, Rebel. I can see its flaws though. I know the writing isn't really well, and it kind of ends every chapter in a cliffhanger-y movie scene, like, what are we gonna do now? But I still enjoyed reading it, and yeah, it was fun. If you're looking for a fun kind of dinosaur-y read, it's good. The next book I'm going to talk to you about is my 4-star read of the month, and it was On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. This is the 2nd book that Angie Thomas has released, and I was really lucky to get an advanced reader copy from Walker Books Australia, so thank you very much to Walker Books Australia for providing this one to me. I have a full review down below that you can go check out, but ultimately I gave this a 4 stars. I thought it was a good book. It did not live up to my expectations, since The Hate You Give was just incredible. However, I still really enjoyed the story. It follows a girl named Bree who is waiting for her come up. She was always dreamed of being a rapper like her late father, and as her mother is struggling to put food on the table after losing her job, she knows that she must do whatever it takes to get money to support her family and get her rapping dream. There was a lot of amazing things about On the Come Up. I love representation of the working class black families. I thought it was really, really important to read. Also linked in a little bit to The Hate You Give and the fear in this community. It's a story about passion and fighting for your dreams. And I think it's also portrays the struggle of working class America really, really well. And Angie always has such an amazing writing style, which I love reading, as well as the lyrics that were written through here that Brie has created herself, which added a little bit something extra to the novel. However, it missed the mark for me in terms of plot. It was a little bit slower, it was a bit longer than I expected it to be, and it dragged a lot. However, I did have some issues with the main character, which I won't go through now. I will go through them fully in my review, and I just couldn't connect to her as much. She felt a little bit underdeveloped. Overall, The Hate You Give was a good read. It did not grip me as much as The Hate You Give, but I still really enjoyed it. Now we are moving on to my 4.5 star reads, and there are two of them. The first one being In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire. This is the fourth book in the Wayward Children series by Seanan McGuire, and I absolutely love the Wayward Children series. And In an Absent Dream is fantastical, it is magical, and it follows Lundy, who is a serious young girl who would rather study and dream than become a respectable housewife. Lundy is always predictable and follows the rules, and that is until she finds a doorway into a world that is kind of built on logic and reason and fairness. And she thinks she has found paradise, but at the end of this day she has to make the ultimate bargain because everything comes with a price in the goblin market. With all of Seanan McGuire's novels, In an Absent Dream is beautifully written and is such a unique take on the world. I love portal fantasy. I love the idea of going into a portal world like Narnia, and this one definitely didn't disappoint. We go into a world of logic and reason where everything is built on fair value. As with all the Seanan McGuire's novels, it was beautifully written and atmospheric, which is my favourite part of Seanan's writing. I think the portal world that was built was really unique and really well developed. The whole idea of the goblin market and that everything is worth fair value was really, really important because, you know, the world isn't fair. In this world, everything is fair value, which I thought was really unique and really a really beautiful take and play on what happens to the world if everything was fair value. However, why this was 4.5 stars is the characters, which are normally my favourite part of the Wayward series, really lacked in this one. Overall, Lundy's kind of a boring main character, as well as her character really irritated me in the decisions she made. Now that could be because of the age gap. I am obviously quite a bit older than Lundy was. I couldn't connect to her reasoning and the things that she would do. In this book, it just didn't make sense to me. I feel like Lundy should have been a relatable character to me because everyone feels like at some stage they don't fit in, but unfortunately I didn't relate to her character, I didn't understand her decisions, and I didn't particularly like her. But although I found the main character quite underwhelming, the rest of the story was fantastic. The next book I want to talk to you about is The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. This was a book for the Polathon, and unfortunately I didn't finish this one in the Polathon, but I finished it during the Contemporary-a-thon and loved it. It obviously didn't go towards any Contemporary-a-thon prompts, but really enjoying this story either way. It takes off from The Bear and the Nightingale and follows a girl named Vasilisa who has two choices in her life, which is go to a convent or get married, and she doesn't really want to do either of those things. She wants to choose magic, and who would blame her, let's be honest. But in the first book, Vasa is she sees sprites and spirits of household and of the forest, and it kind of follows her where being Catholic is kind of coming up in the world and they're forgetting the old gods and the old rituals, and shit goes down. But this follows on from there, and it's really freaking good, and I really like it. It's a polar fantasy. It's set in medieval Russia, and it's got magic and it's got monsters and it's got a really good main character. I just think this is a really unique story. It was much better in The Bear and the Nightingale in that it was easier to get into. I found The Bear and the Nightingale I struggled to read. It was a lot slower. The pacing was a little bit off, especially at the start. But this one did not have pacing issues in my opinion. I was gripped the whole way through and I adored it. Moving on, those were my 4.5 star reads, and now we're going on to my 5 star reads. First off, starting with Heartstopper Volume 1 by Alice Oseman, one of my amazing Contemporary-a-thon reads, which I freaking adored. Now a lot of people have been raving about this. Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads, Chloe from Books with Chloe, they loved it and I had to get my hands on it, and it was just so adorable. If you know me well, you know graphic novels don't really get a 5 star from me. Something's always missing. And even though the art style in this is kind of like hand-drawn, pretty basic, I fell in love with this story. I fell in love with these characters. This was just so cute. It follows a boy named Charlie, and he has come out gay in school, and he meets a boy. It's real cute. I can't really go into much detail. You should just get it and dive into it. Boy meets boy, boys become friends, boys fall in love. And that was what it was, and it was really, really cute, and I cannot wait to get my hands on Heartstopper Volume 2, which comes out like mid-year, I think. But highly recommend. Really, really good, really fun, really beautiful, and it was just a good read. Like, I have no logic behind my 5-star rating other than I loved it so much. Last but not least, another contemporary-thon read, and I'm shocked because I don't give a lot of contemporaries 5 stars, but here we are. Here we are with an audiobook. Here we are with Autobiography by Christina Lauren. Oh my god, loved it so much. Loved everything about it. Let me tell you about it first of all. It follows a boy named Tanner Scott whose family has moved from California to a mainly Mormon town in Utah. And he's kind of put himself back in the closet with this move. His best friends don't really know that he's bisexual, and he's kind of living his life until his best friend Autumn kind of convinces him to go into a writing course. So it is 4 months and you are supposed to write a story in that time. However, in walks Sebastian, who is just gorgeous and last year won the prize for writing his book. So his book's becoming a novel and he is kind of mentoring the students. But maybe our main character Tanner falls in love with him. I don't know, maybe you should read it. I'm kind of gushing about this book because I didn't think I'd love it as much as I did because I'm not a big contemporary fan. But the audiobook and reading along while listening to the audiobook was fantastic. The characters were well developed and really, really interesting. The plot broke my heart. There was parts I was crying, and love stories don't make me cry, but I was tearing up because this was just really, really good, and I just wanted to look after my babies. Ultimately, it was just beautiful. It was a beautiful book. It was a beautiful love story. It's heartbreaking, but all in all, the journey was just really, really good. And I'm so glad I got convinced to read Autobiography for the Contemporary-a-thon because it was really good. I ended up reading 3 books for Contemporary-a-thon, which were Heartstopper, Archie, and Autobiography, and 3 books for the Polathon, even though I did not finish The Girl in the Tower in the Polathon week. I finished it the week after. All in all, a really freaking good reading month, and I'm really, really happy with my reading so far. 8 books in this month was crazy considering it was so short, and I know a lot of these were shorter books so I didn't have much page count, but I really enjoyed everything I read except for Coraline because But that's it for me today, guys. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more and have not already, and chat to me down in the comments. Let me know what you read in the month of February. I would love to hear and chat to you about it, or if you've read any of the books I've read, let's talk about it down below in the comments. But that is it for me today, guys. I make videos every Monday and Thursday, and I'll see you in a new one. Bye!